blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me, the chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes, don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
Yeah, yo, what up, Knicks Universe? What up, Knick Nation? It's Friday, damn it. Wake up, grab your coffee. Got my boy Eddie Presti with us. My brother Phil, muted all caps. You saw what I did there? I gave you the warning ahead of time, Phil, to let you know you were muted. So before you even started to talk like you are right now, hey, Phil, how are you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't even know we were going live yet because there was something going on with StreamYard, and I wasn't getting actual video at all of the intro. So I see your head moving to the beat, and I'm like, I only see a picture of us three, so I have no clue what the heck's going on. But
It's that
I'm just here
RV living, Phil.
out of a little coffee, like water, but.
Phil, you look like you stuck in the Matrix too.
Yeah.
That's that RV living, bro. You so pixelated right now. You should bounce out and come back in.
He's got the bad Wi-Fi. He's
like, all right, here you go. All right, frozen right there. What up, Eddie? Look, I got to be honest, bro. I am exhausted right now. And you know why? Because the Nick of Time show last night had my ass up to about 1:15 in the morning. They killed it last night on the post game with Dexter Henry. Lee and the boys and Jay Ellis and Ryan, they were all killing it. But, man, I'm excited. We got – hold on. Is he back? Phil! Yay! Welcome back, my brother.
I feel like it's going to be a rough morning, so apologize. Yeah.
all right.
What's up to everybody in the chat? Good morning. So we got, let's do a quick roll call for the early ones. Double A is in the building. How you doing? Our moderator of all moderators, Blood of the Panther, Allah Wise. Peace, my God. What you doing? Jacob Petrozzi. He always comes in hype, boy. Taylor Tabbitt is in the building. What it do? Savage NYC. Appreciate you, my guy. Nick P. Nick's are nice with the fire emojis.
What up?
Kerry Cox is in the building. Yo, we got a queen on the show today. All right. Listen, a lot of people go out there and find little angles to do content. We all know her shorts are dope. But you know what? Did y'all see the one the other day? She went and found the fueling fan who got Jalen Brunson fired up for the game. I thought that was so dope.
Yeah. I love, following Mill and just watching, her journey, from one, like, it was just like a tweet here and there to, a short here and there. And now it's like, you can't go anywhere without seeing Mill media. It's just like, boom, I'm hanging out with Allen Houston. I'm like, what the, like, you're on a golf course with Allen Houston. Like, how do I pull that off? Like, what do I got to do to play golf with Allen Houston? It's crazy.
Step 1, play golf. Step 2, follow Allen Houston. Step 3, if 1 and 2 don't work, hook up with Mill Media and be like, yo, I will be your caddy. I mean, that's my game.
Exactly.
Eddie, how you feeling this morning, bro?
Good. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's up all night on those goddamn spaces talking about who the hell we're going to trade for. And, I mean, it got so deep. We were into, I forget the names that we were talking about. It was gone. It went from DeRozan to Sadiq.
I'm going to ask a question later in the chat. So let's save. We all know Eddie has like 1,000 trade machine ideas.
We went down the rabbit hole bad till about. I mean, I had to bounce it too.
All right, well, let's not go down the rabbit hole too long. All right, let's jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. On this Content Friday, of course, we do open panel, but our highlighted guest, the one, the only, we got Mill Media in the building. Mill, how you doing? What? Where's the lag?
Jigga, what happened there, buddy? What
there
happened?
She is.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Good.
I'm good, thank you. I'm doing good this morning. It's a nice morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We got to talk some Knicks, which we all know you can do nonstop, no problem. So let's jump right into it, Mill. Let's talk about last night because I feel like there's a lot of mixed emotions on how that game went last night, right? Like it's happy.
Before we run right into it, all right? Like
Phil wants to
we
questions.
we 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 have a lot of like male voices in Knicks Twitter. You know, we got a lot of male voices on Knicks YouTube. So I love the emergence of the ladies of Knicks fandom, which, you know, like there's some queens in there. You know, you got Queen Steph, you got our homegirl E, you know, you got VSN queens, you know, representing, you know, and so
Ebony, everybody, yeah.
Ebony always kills it, you know, like she's now with Nick of Time. So I want people real quick, Mill, how long have you been a fan of the Knicks, and how did you become a fan of the Knicks? Like, what got you into this crazy fandom? Because I'm old, so it was kind of easy for me to get into the Knicks during like the Starks Ewing era. I'm assuming you're not as old as we are, so you had to deal with some bust teams for a long time. So, what made you become a Knicks fan? Like, how'd you get into it?
I got into it around 2011, 2012, right around when Linsanity peaked. That's when I started watching the games, and that was like the first piece of Nick apparel I got was a Linsanity shirt.
Nice.
My dad got me into watching Knicks basketball. He grew up a fan, so it's only right that I'm a fan as well. You know, keep the tradition going in the family. He always had the games on in the house, as I'm sure a lot, like I'm sure that's similar to a lot of people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And right when I started watching, like I said, 2011, 2012 is also when I started to play basketball myself. So I was really interested in learning about the game and learning how to play, because I was not familiar with it at all. But watching the Knicks back then helped me learn how to play. And um, I played for a few years, you know, like over 6 or 8 years, 6 to 8 years, I would say. I don't play like competitively anymore, but watching the Knicks helped me get on that journey of being a better basketball player and loving the game itself.
That's
It's
awesome.
funny, Mill, because my kids, the only team they stuck with out of my fandom was the Knicks. And that's because, like you said, I always had the games on. They knew Uncle Phil was always watching the Knicks. And they were like, Dad, they went through some pain with us, right? So they're like, we stop here. They didn't jump on the Jets train. They didn't jump on anything
Yeah.
else. They're like, you gave us enough heartache with the Knicks. But I mean, it's great, you know, that your pops was always playing the games. I love how
Yeah.
Chin, who was that just said in the chat? Chin Sunday said, wow, Linsanity sparking Knicks fandom. Never thought I'd hear that.
You know,
Yeah. I was like around, I don't know, like 7 at the time. So I was
that's
pretty
crazy.
young.
Like you just made me feel old as dirt. But one thing I will say, you
Sorry.
say you don't play competitively anymore, but I saw when there were some voices that were, you know, speaking things that they shouldn't on Nick's Twitter, and you put out a video that was like, yo, this is how I feel. Y'all want to step to me? And you did this crossover shot and hit this three on the playground. And I was like, yo, all right, this girl is like ready to take you guys all on via YouTube, Twitter, on the court. Like, do not step to Mill. So I know you still got it.
Well, then before we jump into the game, I got one more question. How did the whole golf course Allen Houston thing come together? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I was laughing a little bit hearing you guys mention it before I was on here. You know, it all goes back to Nickish, a brand that I work with. The founder, Mo, I don't know if any of you guys know him or have seen him. He, well, I'm not sure if he necessarily wants me to share the information, but he's involved with the Starks Foundation in some aspect.
Nice.
He's been with them in the past for certain reasons. So he got invited there, and then he brought me along, which I was so grateful for. We helped out with the event, and in exchange, we got to interview some players like Houston, as you saw in Starks, and Greg Anthony.
Yeah, Mill, how did you find that fan? That's what I got to throw out to you. How did you find the guy that yelled at Jalen Brunson? How did you find that guy?
Well, I was actually scrolling on Instagram, and NBA ESPN found him first because they're the one that posted the screenshots. He posted it screenshots himself, and NBA ESPN reposted it. They tagged him in the bio or the description. So then I just looked at his account, messaged him, you know, wanted to hear the scoop on what really happened and if what he said to Jalen Brunson was intentional, because I would not have the guts to tell him to tell Brunson to his face that this is embarrassing.
Yeah, you can tell when you're interviewing, he doubled down, right? He was like, well, the eye contact was there. He was like, I'm just committed. I would have been like,
Yeah.
hey, too good.
I
Hey,
was surprised to
Brunson.
hear that he called up JB and was like, "Yo, this is embarrassing," because I would not have the guts to do it.
It's amazing. I love that story. Like when like it started popping up on Knicks Twitter, because at first, you never know what to really believe. Like Jalen could have just been Josh, joking with everybody, or
Yeah.
like saying a story that sounded good for media, but then when like the text messages show up where the guy's like, yo, I'm so mad. Like, what are you doing after the game? I don't know. I'm so pissed. I'll probably just go home. And then like he shows the screenshot of like Jalen Brunson there turning, looking. I'm like, oh man, that was incredible. But let's talk Knicks, because I know you got about 35 minutes with us. So first, shout outs to Nickish. If you guys don't know who they are, check out their website. Got some really nice merch. They've always been, supportive. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, Jigga, what do we got for the first topic?
Well, obviously we got to talk about the Knicks and Pistons game, right? And that's what I was saying before was, there's a lot of mixed emotions with it, right? You've got a lot of us that are like, well, we got the W. Like, let's celebrate that. This is a game that maybe a season or two ago we're complaining that we didn't walk away with a win. But then there's those that are like, these dudes didn't win a single game in November and somewhat we struggled. How did you feel, Mill? Like, how'd you wake up this morning? Because we all had that instant reaction last night, right? And now next morning, it's like, all right, let's reevaluate where you at with everything.
It definitely wasn't the prettiest win. You can say that. I would say that last night was sort of like a trap game. Not a great team we're playing up against, and we have the odds to win it, but it was a lot more competitive and close than I think a lot of us expected it to be. I didn't expect this game to be competitive at all, but the fourth quarter, the second half was a completely different story. You could see that they were hanging in there. They were inching their way back as they came back being down 16. Props to them. I think they really wanted to come into MSG and try to get their first win of the month. It's hard
losing
like everybody
that many. Wants to get that win, right? When they're at the Garden,
yeah,
like it brings that out of everybody. It's nuts.
Yeah, and having not won a single game this month, they definitely wanted to earn it tonight, because going a whole month without winning a game it's brutal. I can't imagine dealing with that. I know we've dealt with certain situations like that in the past, 17-win season, but let's not get into it. We're past those times. We're a better team now. But my thoughts go out to Detroit Pistons fans.
I feel like we should make a new shirt. Let's get with Nickish, right? And it says, at least we're not the Pistons. Like, that should be like the shirt I wear every day,
Oh, real quick, hilarious.
Before I throw it over to Eddie and Phil, shout out a couple people. We got Jay Boogie in the building. What it do, Jay
What
Boogie?
Up, Boogie?
Always a pleasure when Jay Boogie throwing that love out there, shouting out Mill as well. I know we saw For the Love of the Game jumping in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Jonathan, Brandon, Chin Sunday, all you guys coming through. Again, guys, Open Panel Friday. We'll drop the link in a bit so everybody can come up here, vent, and make weird faces because we try to be respectful. So if we don't agree with you, we're like, that one there. Eddie, how you feeling about last night? I watched the bottom line, but I feel like we got to now talk about it this morning, bro.
How do I feel? I feel dirty after watching that game. I feel filthy. That was a disgusting game. We're up, 14 points after the first quarter. It should have been a wire-to-wire blowout, but the Pistons came back. They took the lead, and then finally, we got to the fourth quarter. We had our guys take us home, but I felt really upset after that win, and then I go on the spaces and I'm in with the Twitter and the toxicity. And then, I really had to double think about it. And I'm really down on Quentin Grimes after that win last night. Like, that was a bad showing by him. I mean, he's not giving you anything. And I'll throw it to you, Mills. Like, how do you feel about Grimes? Because I'm starting to get a little bit worried, because it's one thing, he's going to he's going to give you good defense. But, I mean, he's just out there to hit shots. And when he's not hitting shots, he's almost useless. You know what I'm saying? So I'll throw that to you, Mills.
Yeah, I've been really hesitant about my stance on the Grimes situation, just because I hate to give up on certain players, especially Grimes, who I think has so much potential to be a better offensive player. But we're just not seeing it this season. Like you said, last night, 0 points for him. He was like 0 for 5 from the field and 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. It's really unfortunate. I'm not really sure what's going on with him, if it's a mental thing, a confidence thing, because last season we saw a good stretch of games towards the end of before we entered the postseason where he was putting up good numbers. I would say he was averaging 15 to 20 per game in that last home stretch before we entered the postseason, and that gave us like a little bit of hope that this season he could be similar to that type of player and could be a knockdown shooter for us. There was so much hype revolving around him coming off of the offseason because of the trainers he worked with. I'm not sure if you guys saw, he did work out with JJ Redick and then Penny Hardaway, and all of that hype, it just didn't turn into anything so far this season. I am concerned that he hasn't been scoring, and we know he's more of a defensive guy. That's his specialty, but we also want to see something out of him. We want to see him contribute to the offensive production, and it's really looking like Dante DiVincenzo might put up an argument to be in that starting lineup over him.
Yeah,
Phil, I'm gonna toss it to you, Phil, so you can talk about the game last night and your take on Grimes as well, because I want to go in on the Grimes conversation in a second. But go ahead, real quick, Phil. Double A with the $4.99. We're gonna bring this one up in a bit. Trade man Eddie. How about trading for Ivy since Pistons not featuring him? I'm saving this one. We're coming back to that one. I know you got takes on that one, Eddie. Go ahead, Phil.
All right. So, yes, I understand a win's a win. But here's the concerning part. It took a 42-piece from Jalen Brunson for us to beat a team who has only won 2 games this whole season. And we only won by 6 with a 42-piece. Like, it took a miracle game from Jalen Brunson. Like, he had to nonstop turn it on from start to finish in order for us to win that game. If Jalen Brunson doesn't come in and put a 42-piece up, we don't win this game. And that's concerning, especially because what people don't realize is we always love the excuse that we're on a back-to-back when we lose a certain game. The worst team in the league was on a back-to-back, and they kept us until the last minute and a half of that game, in contention. That's concerning, because we're not hitting shots. When we see that one of the worst teams and we say, but they were hitting their shots. Exactly. That's a problem. When we can say that one of the worst teams is hitting shots and that's why they were in contention with us because we weren't hitting shots, that's a problem that needs to be fixed. And I think that's where the whole Grimes situation comes in. Grimes, to me, you guys all know how big of a Grimes fan I am. However, with his lack of confidence and what he's been dealing with, and how he's been playing this year, being in that starting lineup is not helping him. It's just not helping him. I actually think it's crippling him because he's so concerned with always having to get the shot off in the little time that he has, where Dante does that great. He does not. Grimes is not a catch and shoot, quick release type shooter right now. He's rushing it because he feels like he has to catch and shoot so quick. So there's a lot of issues. And I know we were talking about it last night in some groups. And shout out to my guy State. He brought up, a point. And what I like about State is if you actually give a take that combats his, and you actually have a valid point, he'll listen. It's when you're just going off feelings that State erupts like a volcano. But we were talking about Grimes last night, and he's like, you can't put Grimes on the bench because if we ever want to trade him, that lessens his value because it shows that you put, him on the bench, and no bench player is going to get you, a good trade or whatever. And I was like, well, you got to listen at what you're saying. We're saying besides Jalen Brunson and maybe RJ Barrett, one of the guys who has the highest trade value on our New York Knicks is Immanuel Quickley. Who are teams reaching out to about right now? Immanuel Quickley. Where's Immanuel Quickley? On our bench. He thrived on our bench and he turned heads. I feel like that's the way that Grimes is going to get his confidence and also his value up, is actually playing well off the bench. I think he would play a lot better off the bench than he does in the starting lineup. And this is for a player that I personally think has one of the highest ceilings if he can reach it. So putting him on the bench is not punishment. It's actually doing something that I think would be better for him. And that's why I think Tibbs needs to step in, because like a father, I don't always do what my kids exactly want, but I do what my kids need, and sometimes they might not understand it, but it'll benefit them in the end. And that's why
On that same note,
bench.
Uncle Celso does everything he's not supposed to do for his nephews and lets them
Yeah,
get away
Uncle
with
Celso's
it.
a jerk sometimes.
Shout out Double A, always helping us keep the lights on. He said, Phil, Dante didn't catch fire in that fourth. It's a loss too.
Yep.
I mean, it's easy to say that, right? What was it?
Agreed.
Four threes? Right? So,
Yeah.
Real quick, Mill, I'll talk to you about it with the Grimes situation because I know when you interacted with it on social, I got blasted. Game 4 of the season where I was like, yo, you can't pitch me continuity and I can look at a guy and say, yo, he's still not confidence. Tell me if this is continuity because this last night, right? Jalen Brunson, 42. Julius Randle, 29. RJ Barrett, 15. Dante, 12. Grimes, 0. So wait, hold on. If you're telling me that the guy that's supposed to be a part of that continuity, right? But everybody takes it as, oh, you hate Grimes. I love the kid. I think we're doing him a disservice, letting him keep sitting. I understand the be patient. Why does be patient mean you're on the starting rotation? You can't tell me you're a starter and then we got to be patient with you when you've got pieces on the bench that can come in and make us stronger on that starting unit. Be patient.
Yeah.
I agree. Don't get rid of him. Let him come in. Let him find that game again. Because if anybody's going to sit here and tell me his defense has been phenomenal too, I'm sorry. I've watched. Let's just go over the last 3 games. Can you sit here and tell me he's been phenomenal on defense?
He was good against the Hornets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's one thing, Jigga, that people also have to realize is if it's about the team and it's about us winning, right? Like being able to secure that playoff spot that we need, getting as many wins as we can throughout the season. My concern is we all know, as much as I like Mitch is one of the biggest detriments when it comes to an offense. Like, that you're playing 4-on-5 when you have Mitch as your starting center. Like, he's great at grabbing the rebound, but when it comes to actually putting up points, it's not going to happen unless it's a lob or an open dunk. And like, he's got some moves that he's starting to show, and I'm hoping those come to fruition. Like, we see it, start to grow throughout the season. But right now, with the whole Hack-a-Mitch situation, that if he goes to the line, there's a good chance that team walks away without any detriment to like the point system. We cannot have that with Grimes as well. And these last few games, it has been 3-on-5 offensively. And that is a huge issue because now you're putting even more pressure on Jalen, Randle, and RJ. That if one of them have a bad game, we're screwed because there's 0 points or 2 points coming from the 4th player, and then maybe 2 or 3 points coming from the 5th player. That's a huge issue to expect 3 guys to beat other teams' 5 guys who can score. A lot of these teams can score from 1 to 5. If we can only score from 1 to 3, that's going to be an issue.
Mill, where are you at with RJ since he's been back from the injury? Because we all notice it. We all see it, right? It's like Clark Kent and Superman, right? Like shit just went crazy. Like he has not been able to rip out the S anymore. How you feeling about RJ?
Yeah, there's been some quiet games for him. He's cooled down a little bit. I know starting off the season really hot, we were all here for it, and there's a lot of hype surrounding that. I'm still here for him having a great year. I'm just waiting for him to get back in rhythm because he missed 3 games straight. So that's almost an entire week there. And, when you miss a few games, you definitely have to get back in rhythm. But it's a little disappointing. We haven't seen him have a great game yet coming back from his migraine injury. We're waiting for it. Like, we're just patiently waiting for him to get there again. And his 3-point shooting has taken a slump a little bit. Last night we saw him go 1 for 6 from the 3-point line, which is pretty disappointing because starting off the season, he was red hot from the 3-point line and looking so confident when he shot it. Hopefully he can get back there shooting the 3 really well.
Yeah, and I like, Kerry's in the chat said he's not worried about RJ, right? And I think we're all kind of there right now where there's a little concern, right? Okay, let's give the grace period, right? But then the questions start happening. When is that grace period? The problem is we have other things that we have to focus on right now with players like Grimes and stuff that this kind of gets foreshadowed a little bit. Eddie, I see the veins starting to pop out.
I'm just saying that we watch this every year with RJ. We watch him start out slow every year. I know he came out hot to start this year, but every year it's like we have to wait till January for him to start, getting consistent. Last year, during the regular season, he was so inconsistent and he was so inefficient. It was awful to watch. I hope we're not going to see that again this year. So I'm a little bit concerned about RJ because if he's inefficient and he's inconsistent, we're going to have problems, especially with the way Grimes is playing and things like that. So I am starting to get a little bit worried with the RJ.
So you're telling me that me saying RJ is going to have a dope ass game tonight actually would be a hot take? Because I'm calling it tonight that we see RJ go off. I'm just telling you, everybody's already talking about the Raptors. Exactly, there it is, right? He's home, people. He ready to come into Canada. Oh, Canada. I don't know the rest of the words. And he gonna ball out tonight. Go ahead.
Yo, here's the thing. Here's the thing with RJ, okay? Like, one thing that we have realized time and time again is I personally have an issue with how we as the Knicks handle injuries, okay? Like, we have seen time and time again, players come back and play for quite a few games before they're actually really healthy and able to, like, perform. It happened with Randle. It's happened with Brunson. It's happened with Grimes. It's happened with Mitch. Like, we do that, and then after a while, we're like, oh, it comes out in the media, they still hadn't fully recovered, but they came in and played, And so I don't want to, like, take away from what RJ did in the beginning of the season before anything happened and what he tried to do that few games before he actually sat out after he already had the injury. I really believe that him playing on that injury, those next few games, is going to have a little bit of lasting impact. And that's what we're seeing right now. Here's the one thing I do love about RJ is, yes, RJ is struggling, but there's a difference between a player who struggles and a player who allows their limitations to keep them from trying, keep them from actually putting in the effort. RJ still puts in the effort. He's still trying his best defensively and offensively. Yes, he's struggling, but I'm going to give it a few more games because he came in showing that all the things that we saw him working on this summer actually came to fruition in those first few games, as opposed to a lot of other players on our team that we heard were doing all these things in the offseason and we haven't seen them. And yet we're still giving passes and grace on that, So I want to give RJ a few more games. I feel like he's earned it, at the start of the season. Let's give it a few games. If 25 games come in and he's still playing like this, then we have an issue, then we have a huge issue.
I'll give RJ one thing. Last night, he got to the line, and he's been hitting his free throws. And that, to me, we all know he's been terrible with the free throws. He's gotten a lot better with that. So I give him props there.
So I know we got Mill for about 5 more minutes. So there's 2 things I want to talk about with you real quick, Mill. One, can we all just take a second to appreciate our center? Oh, my God. In the fields. No, I'm not crying. You're crying. How great was that freaking story last night? Like, just the minute the interview happened, I was like, oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, it was definitely emotional. I don't know if anyone else felt it, but the story with his high school coach, and unfortunately his coach's wife passed away. And I actually saw, like, his post before that story came out yesterday. I saw when that happened and when he visited the coach's wife. It was really unfortunate to hear, but Mitch is he's like a teddy bear. He's so big, so tall, but you don't expect, when stories come out like this, you don't really expect it. And it's nice to know, how kind he is, and he's really showing up for his old coach.
And he's showing up for us with 104 offensive rebounds. How you doing? So it's like you're just building like this great little person. All right. I don't know about you guys. Going into the season, sometimes I look at the dance moves he be doing on TikTok or something. Like, I don't, maybe not the best. But then when he performs where he does, then you hear how loving he is to his coach. That's it. Mitch is my guy. I'm telling y'all now, I love the man. Phil, I know you get emotional.
Yeah.
Talk on Mitch, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I love is like growing up, being so influenced by, hip hop music and just basketball culture, like growing up before it was about what it is now with a lot of people, where it's like we succeed because we are going to live this lavish life. We're going to spend all the money in the club. We're going to do all this, all that. When I was growing up, it was you succeed to get out of a situation and you bring those who really ride with you along. Like you cover the people that have covered you. Like it was always about succeeding to advance yourself and the people you loved. Now it's become kind of a, look what I got, look who I am, and the pendulum has kind of swung. And so it's cool to see a guy like Mitchell Robinson, just be like old school to the T of like, I succeeded, but I don't succeed without this guy. And I'm going to give this guy the life that I now have.
I mean, look at Savage in the chat, right? Mitch is a good old country boy.
Yeah.
Like literally put him right next to a poster of good old country boy, and that T-shirt is selling. I'm telling you, I'm in a T-shirt mood today. Eddie, you rubbing off on me, jerseys.
And so yeah, shout out to our guy Hector. He came up with the catchphrase, it's a Mitch match. And so when I think of like, the how people act and how Mitch acts, like who's the best, what is the balloon?
Yes. Oh, I figured it out. If you do the peace sign, it does, hold on. Peace. Damn. It does balloons. 2 of them does confetti. I practice people. Hold on. Damn it. Confetti.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
What is
it's raining
this?
outside.
What's going on here?
It's
Do
raining.
I get any?
I got nothing.
So anyway,
Fireworks.
Mitch is the truth. Shout out to Mitch.
Before you go, Mill, we got the Raptors tonight. We're rolling in there with 11-7 record up against a 9-10. They are getting healthy. How you feeling about tonight? What needs to go right?
I'm not that confident just because we struggle against back-to-backs. I think we've only won 1 so far this season out of like 4 or 5. So obviously it's going to be difficult for them. And if the Pistons were a tough fight for them, I can just imagine how the Raptors will be, because essentially they are a better team than the Pistons, and they have home court advantage. But I'm really hoping that we see RJ go off, seeing that he is at home and he hasn't gone off in a few games now. I'm really hoping we can have a big game from him, because I don't think it's realistic to expect Jalen Brunson to have another 40-plus game, even like a 35-plus game. We can't expect that from him every night. Hopefully another great game by Randle. He's definitely been stepping up this past few games, been in a groove. I do think we have to contain a few players on the Raptors, including Scotty Barnes, who has surprisingly been really good this season.
Yeah.
I think he's averaging like just under 20 or 20 exact, and averaging like 9 rebounds. So he's coming off of a good game too. They won against the Phoenix Suns, I believe, a few days ago. And he had like 23 points. So we have to find a way to contain him. I don't know. I don't think Pascal is Siakam hurt, or is he playing? He hasn't been hurt.
No, he's playing.
Playing, right?
Yeah, he's been playing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Siakam, I don't think is going to be that big of an issue, just because he's regressed a little bit this season. His averages are a little bit down. His percentages, he's shooting like 20% from the 3-point line, which is completely awful. But he doesn't take too many threes. But he did have that 52-point game against us last season, if you guys remember. So I think about that from time to time. That was a heartbreaking loss. And I hope he doesn't just magically go off against us again.
Yeah. And I agree with you, right? We need other guys to step up. Like last night was an off game for IQ. Let's be real. We all can say it, right? So if you get that IQ energy, but I love how Slime Live in the chat said, did we take it easy last night so we can go hard tonight? You know what, Slime? That right there is a great way for us to start the open panel. I dropped the link in the chat. Phil, go ahead, and then we'll let Mill get out of here, because she got things to do. Bro.
So Mill, before you go, I want people to like straight up follow you, follow what you're doing before we give our takes on the Raptors game, because you're killing it right now. You know, like you're showing up
Appreciate that.
tons of places. And for us, we always said it, like, if we're not a place where we want to like share our platform and promote other content creators, then there's really no point in doing this. You know, we've had people that have been there for us and continue to be there for us, and vice versa. And so I want you to continue to thrive because you are freaking killing it. So how can people follow you? What do you have coming up that they can look forward to?
You guys can follow me here on Twitter at Mill Sports Media. And if you guys are on Instagram as well, you can follow me mill.media. It's a different handle, but it's shorter, so hopefully that's easier. I do post a lot more videos on Instagram instead of Twitter, just because that's how the platform is. So yeah, I like posting more on Instagram, but Twitter/X is cool too. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. You guys are a great platform and for showcasing all these content creators or anyone. It's great what you guys do.
Appreciate you, man. I'll be honest. I'm on Nick's nicest side because we all want to know how the hell do we all stay calm like Mill? Because you just even kill all the time, Mill. It's crazy. But thank you so much for making time to hang out with us. You know, we got open door policy for you. You wake up and want to get some stuff off your chest. I feel like you'll still be calm about it. But anytime you want to come back, Mill, just let us know. We're happy to have you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And salute to everyone in the chat. Thanks for the comments. Have a good day, guys.
Have a good one, Mill. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm telling she's so even kill, right? Like on her takes, just everything. She has that soothing voice to your soul. You know, it's like, you know what? You're right. You're right, Mill. Whatever she says, you're right. Sure.
All right, Eddie, before we start bringing people up, I want to hear everyone's takes on tonight, because in open panel, I want to hear everybody's takes on last game and this game. So what do you think, Eddie, about tonight?
I think tonight's going to be a problem. Tonight's going to be a big problem because Toronto's one of the taller teams of the league. And we've shown so far that when we go against these big teams like the Celtics, like the Bucks, they create problems. And then I go back to last year with when Siakam, like Mill was talking about, Siakam put up that 52 piece. And then I remember that day game in January, I think it was like Martin Luther King, something like that, when we lost in overtime in MSG. So I think tonight's going to be a problem. I think tonight's looking like an L, Phil.
All right. What about you, Jigga?
Well, I was thinking of what Mill was saying when it comes to Siakam, right? And she's right. Like he is finding his groove. I mean, if you look at just his last 3 games, right? He was in that 18 to 25 range in points, right around there each game, right? So he's starting. The thing is that to be scared about is the fact that they are getting healthy, right? And then you go back. Is this another one of those ones where that size does matter? And here we are again on Monday as grown men talking about size matters. It's awkward, right? But it's one of those that can happen. And then, Eddie, what you said last night in your bottom line caught my attention too, with this is one of those games last night where we were hoping we'd be able to have a lot of our guys sitting with that blowout on a back-to-back, right? But at the end of the day, guys, I'm not saying it like it's supposed to be a hot take or anything like that. I just have that feeling the kid's going home. RJ might have that Canada energy. If IQ's putting up points, and let's be real, yes, we can harp on the Grimes situation all we want, but he is seeing less minutes. He's coming out with those starters, but this might be another one of those games where he is seeing less of those minutes, and you're seeing more of the Dante. You're seeing more of the IQ minutes. We need that for it to continue to get better. So I'm hoping we walk away with that W. I'm never going to vote for us to have an L. I think we can walk away with it.
Yeah, so I'll share mine real quick, and then we'll throw it over to Double A. One thing that a few people have pointed out is Mitch tends to struggle with some of the overseas type players when it comes to the centers. Just the style of play that they do, the fact that a lot of them, are pretty physical, which is usually his strength against other people. But with Polo at the center, who knows what we're going to see. I'm hoping Mitch can overcome it, but this is a roster that I believe they do not have a winning record, not because individually they're not great players, but they haven't figured it out as a team. But that doesn't mean at any night one of these players can't go off, kind of like Jalen Brunson did last night. And that's a concern as well.
Yeah.
Being that it was a doubleheader, like, I understand Jalen Brunson's a dog, but when you go for 42 and you carry the team on your back, you're going to have a little bit of wear and tear on your legs and on your arms, like that next game. So I'm hoping that that doesn't come back and bite us in the butt. And like, Mill was saying, Barnes has been playing really, really well. A lot of people last year were like, yo, maybe this guy is a bust. And then he came back this year and was like, nope, last year I struggled, but I'm back again, And so it's a weird roster because Pascal struggled, has struggled a bit, but other people have stepped up, like Schroeder, everyone was like, oh, this guy's done. And all of a sudden he's reinvented himself in Toronto. And now he's back to averaging, 16 points a game, and 7 assists. So it's a weird roster. And for the guy that we all want to trade for in OG Anunoby, and we're talking about how great his defense is, we can't ignore that, because that's the defense that's going to be played on us tonight. So we can't quote how great this guy is and how great his defense is and that his offense has improved and then not expect to worry about it ourselves tonight. So we just got to, we got to pay attention. We got to play hard. But I think it's going to be a up to the wire game, and I hope that we pull it out.
Phil, I'm looking at Scotty Barnes' numbers. This guy's 19.1 points, 9.1 rebounds, 2.6 offensive rebounds, 1.3 blocks, and 1.6 steals. Man, he's averaging a steal over a steal and a block. Man, he's
yeah, crazy.
He's the defender, not OG. He's the better defender right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think people might miss, because we talk about how great OG is as a defender, and we're not realizing that he's not the only one, on that team who can defend. So we just gotta, play as a team. I say this all the time, especially against defensive minded teams and teams with length. If our assists are under 20 assists, we will lose this game. Bottom line. I say it all the time, and people are like, yo, you're crazy, da-da-da-da-da. And then what happens when we have an under 20 assist game? We take the L. And then I gloat a little bit because people who were talking trash about how I don't know ball because I said we lose under 20 assists, and then we lose under 20 assists. But I'm going to throw it over to our guy, Double A. What up, Double A? How you doing, my guy? Appreciate you.
How you doing, fellas?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good.
What are your thoughts on tonight, bro?
On tonight, we got to bring it, man. We can't take the night off. I mean, we got to bring it, which is, like Phil said, it's going to be hard, especially, drawing that game out last night. Last night should have been one of those games where the fourth quarter, our starters are on the bench and, our subs are getting some run. But, Detroit, you got to give them some credit, man. They didn't come to lay down. They came to play. And I think what really killed us yesterday was our perimeter defense. It was just awful, man. I mean, who was that rookie that came in and blasted us for 5 threes?
Sasser.
That's why, I posed that question to you, Eddie. You're trade man. That's why I posed that question about Jaden Ivory. I mean, now that they have, some pieces, Killian Hayes is showing up, and they got some pieces over there. What's the chance of us flipping some of our draft picks for Ivy and maybe bringing him over?
So Eddie, let's before we go to the Ivy question, because I feel like we all have some takes on that. I'm gonna throw it to our guy Just Knicks to talk about tonight's game and what needs to be different from last night's game if we walk away with the victory, and then we'll open it up to the Jaden Ivey talk, because I got some points on that too, especially after talking to our guy Ant, who is content creator for the Pistons the other night. So Just Knicks, let's talk to you real quick about tonight and last game. Appreciate you coming up, my guy.
Yep. Honestly, the main thing is just ball movement, man. When the ball moves, this team is just we operate differently, man. But when we gotta have Brunson carrying a lot of the workload, or if guys, not even just that, not from we got hit free throws. The last couple of games, man, we came in real close with the game on the line where free throws really kind of messed us up. And I'm looking at the game like, dang, usually these guys that are missing the free throws, we usually make the free throws, you know? So my main thing is we gotta get to hit the free throws. I want to see the ball movement, man. And a lot of people give Randle slack as far as just giving up on the defensive assignments. It's just watching Randle sometimes. It's like when he's playing good, it's good. But when he's like just, kind of and not really into the game, it's not fun to watch, man, from a fan's perspective. So we need Randle engaged on both ends of the floor. Randle's assist numbers are pretty good, but just from just watching everything, we do better when the ball's moving. If it's moving, like kind of to what you said, when we have higher assists, more than likely we're probably gonna win. But when it's just kind of just jammed and everything is stiff, it's gonna be a tight game. But we gotta come at them like from the soon as the tip off start, we gotta come straight at them. That's all I really want to see.
To me, I think one of the biggest things with the Knicks, they got to hit their shots, man. I mean, I brought this up last night, and I brought it up again in the bottom line. They're bottom 3 in field goal percentage. They're bottom 3 in free throw percentage. They got to get those numbers up. When you miss shots, you lose games, and they continue to be this inefficient group of team. And the reason they're winning is because we out-rebound the other teams. We get those offensive rebounds. We get the rebounds. We get points in transition. So I like to see the Knicks clean it up and be a little bit more efficient, in the field goal department. I think that's a big confidence.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to a defensive-minded team like Toronto. You got to be even more because, you're going to get, but so many open looks. So you got to really take advantage of it. Sorry, Phil.
Knock down those shots.
You good. And that's a great point. One thing that you notice is Jalen Brunson, who's our main guy, shoots best when there's ball movement. Like, it's insane. When you have Jalen Brunson, who is top 4 right now when it comes to 3-point percentage in the NBA, that's crazy. Why are we not looking for more opportunities to give him the easy 3-point shot? Like, he's pulling off difficult ones. Imagine how much greater like his 3-point percentage would be if we weren't forcing him to always take hard 3-point shots. Because when that ball moves, him and Dante get clean looks, it's a bucket. When it's like a force thing is where it starts to hit or miss. And so with someone like RJ, who's been struggling a little bit, why are we not looking to move the ball to get him easy shots instead of forcing a struggling RJ to take difficult shots? So for me, the key is ball movement for sure. So real quick, I want to shout out my guy right here, Parrish. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He said RJ is fine. It's if he's playmaking, him 1-on-3 is trash. Agree. Grimes needs to play with the reserves to settle down. I agree. He will never play well next to Randle. People think Randle's ball out passes is support. Sometimes I agree with part of that take, Parrish. But one thing I will say is I don't want to completely crap on Randle because there are certain things that we're starting to see now that we never saw from him. So a few games ago against the Hawks, he's the one that encouraged Emmanuel Quickley to take Trae Young off the dribble and to create for Emmanuel Quickley. And in that play, he then dishes to Emmanuel Quickley, who blows by Trae Young easily. And then in that last game, it was also him who did he encourage? I'm trying to remember that
Dante.
one play.
I think it was Dante, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember who
Which
it was.
game,
The Hornets game.
Well, Dante went off in that game. IQ had points.
Hold on, I posted about it because it was like seriously one of my favorite like Randle moments. And for people who think that I'm a Randle hater, they haven't obviously watched this season because I've given him a lot of. Oh, it was Mitch. He told Mitch to take it in. And so that one play where Mitch goes through the legs and the Hornets only stopped him because they double teamed him. Julius Randle was the one that like told him, go down. I'm giving you that ball. You're going to take him. And Mitch was encouraged by that. So you're starting to see Julius Randle take on a different hat than we've ever seen when it comes to trying and encouraging some of his players. So I don't want to go, too hard on Randle because yes, there's a lot of shortcomings, but he's actually doing some things that I've personally asked of him for the last 4 years. He's starting to do now. So we got to also give credit if we're going to give critique. But shout out to you for that super chat. Let's talk real quick. There's 25. It's been going between 25 and 45 in the chat. If you're in the chat, please hit the like button. If you have not yet, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the support. Send out a tweet. I know that there's some Twitter spaces going on because Twitter spaces happen all day, every day. It's a little tiring for me sometimes. But post out a little tweet, get people in here. We want to hear some other people's takes as well. But yeah, hit that like and that subscribe button. And so what I want to talk about right now is Double A's question about Jaden Ivey. And if you guys are seeing this, we have this little content your way. Right now, no one's giving trash takes, at least in my opinion. But if you think that someone's takes suck, there are little monetization options to either shut them up for 5 minutes or to kick them off the panel completely. You have your options if you think someone's takes are absolute trash, or if you come in and you're just like, I don't like that person, and you want to pay us $50, go for it. We'll kick them off the chat. We love them, but, we got to do what we got to do. Got to make money, got to eat here. We got families. So the Jaden Ivey talk. I don't know if you were in the space the other day that our guy Deej was running, but it was before the Pistons game, and it was the day before the Pistons game, and one of their content creators, his name's Anthony, he was in there talking about his team, and we were asking him questions. And so he personally does not believe that the team has really given up on Jaden Ivey. He kind of thinks that it's one of those like, hey, we're sitting you down because you're not performing to the expectation that we believe you have. Kind of like a tough love situation where it's, hey, we're going to discipline you because we love you kind of situation, where they think that him sitting down and having to come off the bench will kind of realign his expectations and he'll come back to be that player that, we all thought he was going to be. So he does not personally believe that they are actually interested in letting go of Jaden Ivey. Obviously, even as content creators, we don't have the inside scoop for sure. We just spend our time nonstop learning about our team so we can try to talk with some education. But me personally, I would trade for Jaden Ivey, because I feel like there is that potential to become what we all know he or thought he could be, but at what cost? Once again, it feels like with the Knicks, we always have to pay more than everybody else in the industry. No matter how bad we've been at certain times, it always seems like our ticket price is always higher. Do I think having a player like Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup could help? Yes, but it also could not, because I think that they're seeing it the same way that we're seeing Grimes right now, that he's not performing at the level that we think he should be performing. That's how Detroit's seeing it right now.
Real quick, what up, Double A? What up, Just Knicks? Sorry, I just got back, fellas. But I want you to talk on it, Double A. You put the super chat in there on Ivy, so obviously you got some feelings towards him. What are you thinking?
Yeah, number one, I think Ivy's issue is you got a ball dominant point guard playing with him. You got Cade playing with him. And Cade, he dominates the ball. I mean, you could see it in last night's game. I mean, he just dominates the ball a lot. So I don't think Ivy is getting that, that handle, but I think, it's a case same as, we are with Quentin Grimes, where, they're thinking the same thing that we as fans, I mean, Tibbs ain't thinking it yet, but we as fans are thinking it, that, the best thing for Grimes is, not to punish him, but to give him some breathing room, exhale. Because like Porto, you said it, and I believe Eddie said it. His defense ain't been, his defense was the thing that we felt was keeping him in the starting lineup. And
yeah, because it almost feels like, again, people take it as if you say maybe he shouldn't move to the second unit is, oh, you're a Grimes hater. That's not it. No. How many times have we watched somebody, yes, we give him a chance, And that makes it even worse because you're messing with their confidence. They're hearing everything in the New York media. It just keeps coming and coming. To me, you're taking a bigger chance of breaking him even further instead of giving him some more freedom with that second unit, right?
Yes.
I am not ever going to sit here and say, I don't want a Knicks player to work out. Damn it, we've been through years of people that most people are like, damn, how could you say that man's name out loud and celebrate him? Because he was a Knick. Because he was here, and at that time, that's what I'm going to root for. So I'm hoping for the best for him. But if we're all seeing it, how many more games we have to sit here and say, okay, maybe the leash has been a little too long? Just Knicks, what up, my guy?
So,
And at the end of the day, you know, we're still playing 3-on-5 on offense.
Facts.
You can't keep doing it, especially as a team like tonight against Toronto. That's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Why? Because they have all those defenders, man. They got guys at every spot, and it's going to be extra pressure on Brunson, Randle, and Barrett to need to go off for us to win.
So real quick, I'm going to throw it to Eddie and then just Knicks. I have this question on AA. So as much as I like Jaden Ivey and as much as I like Grimes, you talk about Jaden Ivey not getting opportunities because Cade always has the ball in his hand. What difference is that going to make coming to the Knicks where Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson always have the ball in their hand?
I think his role. His role
wouldn't be any different because with Cade is coming back from not even playing really last year. And now he is making himself the dominant player. And Jaden is struggling to get touches there. He would be coming to a place that we are preaching continuity and sticking to what works for us, which is Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle having the ball in their hand. And they're already established as opposed to Cade, who's starting to get established as the main guy there. So he would be coming into a place that already says, hey, you're going to be fourth option. Jaden's going to struggle even more so to get touches in a New York Knicks uniform than he does even in a Pistons uniform. Like if you can't get touches competing against another guy who's pretty much in his first full year, hopefully this year, then you're definitely not going to get it against all-star Julius Randle and all-NBA Julius Randle and who should have been all-star Jalen Brunson. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get a ton of touches. So, Eddie's, what's your thought on that?
All right. So, look, the Jaden Ivey situation is very simple. He makes $7 million. We don't have too many contracts that match that, right? So we can't send out Grimes for Ivey. It doesn't work financially. So the one trade that does work financially is IQ for Ivey. Do you guys want to trade IQ for Jaden Ivey? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. So I don't think Jaden Ivey's a fit financially, and I don't think he's a fit on this team because he's another guy that's going to get here. He's an undersized guard. He's going to be coming out of his second unit. He's a young guy. We know Tibbs doesn't like young guys. It's not a fit. If this was 2 years ago, I'd say, sure, let's go out and get Jaden Ivey. But we're ready to win. We've graduated past the point of just wanting to make the playoffs, just wanting to make the first round. We want to start winning. So we have to go. We have to look at guys past Jaden Ivey. We have to look at a veteran who can help, get us those, touches up and get those numbers up. So I'll stop. I'll leave it there.
I know who your veteran is. So we're going to talk about that.
I have a few veterans.
I want to hear just Knicks's take, and then we can open it up to talk about what player. I want to hear from everybody.
Yes.
What player you would put into our starting lineup to make it better if you had a choice.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, Phil, Blood the Panther already sent me a tweet to share with everybody on these DeRozan.
Time out.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna read it in a bit. Go ahead, just Knicks.
Eddie gets first rights to talk about DeRozan this season. I was the last 2 seasons, but he's been bringing it up, and he had great arguments last night. That's why I timed him out. So just Knicks, what's up, bro?
I'm gonna just keep this real simple and quick. We don't need nobody who don't move the needle for us moving forward. If we're not moving forward, if it's not a move that says, okay, if you add this person to the team, how much better does this make us? Adding Ivy to this team currently constructed right now will be the dumbest thing in all of us we could do as Knicks fans to see that even happen. The person we need next to Brunson is someone who can create off the dribble, play a little bit of defense, and keep it simple. And my take will be Donovan Mitchell. That's it. That's it.
All right. All right.
He said point blank period.
I understand that. I can't say if that was my one piece, it would be that. But Delano, if you're
got
there,
down the Donovan Mitchell rabbit hole again. Huh?
Yeah,
Here we go.
Guys, real quick before we throw it over to DSJ, it's been a minute. Let's just say a shout out. A couple people. Crackle Nuts is in the building. What it do, my guy? 19 Con Man, how you doing? Ben Malavani is in the chat. Our boy Ron, still Knicks fans in the building. Appreciate you guys. Almighty Finesse. Appreciate everybody. Big Chino. Appreciate you coming through. Guys, I dropped the link on the open panel. It's a safe space, all right? We got one simple rule. Follow the terms and conditions and don't be a douchebag. DSJ, what up?
Let's get people in this chat.
Hey, salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody on the panel. You know what I'm saying? Phil, Eddie, always fashionable. Jigga, Double A, Just Knicks. What's going on with y'all?
What's good?
Yeah, so embarrassing win last night. Once again, an unknown role player in Sasser makes a name for himself in the Garden. Added to another role player. Like, honestly, like it gets to a point where you just start kind of scratching your head, like what's really going on. I'll be honest with you. At this time, I'm just calling Grimes a bust. If we could call Obi a bust with more consistent production than what Grimes has given us, then why can't we call Grimes a bust as well? You know what I'm saying? I mean, at the end of the day, we've gone through calling so many other players who's given more than what Grimes has given us busts. And I have nothing, I have nothing to lean on to defend Grimes at this point. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm kind of laughing at the fact that I'm just glad that he's not a guy that produces points, because the way that Scotty Barnes plays defense from all 94 feet, and I've watched him play against like Shaden Sharp against Shaden Sharp in Portland, and how he'll basically just kind of steal the ball on ball defense. Thank God that we don't rely on Grimes to do anything else, because my God, it'd just be a nightmare. The guy that I'd be I've been looking for two type of guys in terms of trading. Still on their rookie deals. I would rather make a trade for either Trey Murphy III in New Orleans, or I'll take Julian Champagnie out of San Antonio. And the reason I would look for those guys specifically is two reasons. One, they're on their rookie deal. And two, they're legitimate small forwards, 6'7/6'8", and taller. This gives us the opportunity to slide RJ back to the shooting guard position to be a mismatch against other shooting guards who can't really match his strength. So drive to the basket might be a little easier. And those guys can create their own offense. So you're not having to just stand in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Those are guys that will do the whole pump fake and, drive inside and knock down the mid-range jumpers. They'll, do other things other than just stand in the corner like an REM song. This is me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. It just gets to a point where you need to see more. And if this is the type of move that I'm making, if I'm not getting a big name, at least give me something that would benefit the team going forward in terms of overall offensive schemes and sets.
Yo, DSJ came in and dropped the bus bomb, bro. I did not have bus bomb on my bingo card today. Eddie, since you so politely raised your hand, Mr. Presti, yes, go ahead, sir. No, you can't go to the bathroom. Stay in your chair.
No. I have possible breaking news right now. Okay, Sam Amick of The Athletic says that DeMar DeRozan's two preferred destinations are Miami and New York. That's pretty big. Yes.
Yep. And that was what I was about to talk about when Blood the Panther literally sent it to me on X and said, yo, and it was Drew Starr that put it out, the beat writer for the Miami Heat. And it literally says the two spots, Miami and the Knicks, is who he prefers. So let's go around
Eddie.
the horn. Ben, what up, Ben? What up, Ben?
What up?
What's up, guys? How you doing? Eddie,
Good,
double
man.
A.
Good.
Hey, what are you at
still-
school?
Good, what's good?
No, no, I'm actually at work. But no, that game last night, I was actually at the Garden, watching it. That was a look, me personally, I said before and I tweeted this that this game would be a lot closer than you all think. A lot of people said blowout. I personally think that the Pistons coming off with a 15-game losing streak, coming into the world's most famous arena, all the hype, Kate Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, all these young players playing at Madison Square Garden. And I thought it would be competitive. I thought it would be tight, but I thought the Knicks would win. I did not know the game would turn out like that. And I just have to shout out Jalen Brunson, man. He is a guy that is just leading us to wins, doing everything for us, carrying this team on the back when you see Quentin Grimes not shooting well, bad performance, when you see Emmanuel Quickly not doing that well, when you see RJ Barrett, and he's just that guy that takes that step and leads us to a victory, and that's what I love. So shout out to him of what he did last night. But yeah, man, look, I know it's an ugly win. I'll take the win, but me personally, I can't be that positive and be that hype. Well, like, we got the win, we beat the Pistons, because we didn't really shoot our free throws well. We missed some. We also like, we didn't shoot well from the three. We just didn't have a good shooting night. And my thing is that if we play like this against the Pistons, what happens when we go into the Raptors tonight and we play like this? And they're a tough squad too. I can't sleep on them. They have a young team. They're good. And I think going into Toronto, especially with this whole lawsuit that's going on, I think it's just going to be another tough battle for the Knicks. Then we go on to the Bucks. Then I forget the schedule, how it turns out. If we beat the Bucks, we'll see what happens then. And then we go on to and then we play the Raptors again on December 11th. So if we play like this and Jalen Brunson's just doing everything for us, I don't like that. So if Jalen Brunson scores 40, 50, whatever points he scores, but the team just plays bad, that's just kind of worrying me, that there's this one guy that's doing everything and the rest of the team is not really doing anything. That's the one thing that really worries me, that we need to add another guy that can also fill up that role with shooting, defense, can hit our free throws, can make those winning plays and make an impact. Because what I saw from Quentin Grimes last night, and I was never high on him, but he disappointed me. And it's sad to see what's going on, but he disappointed me. He made zero impact, and throughout every game, majority of the season, he just hasn't been playing well. So I don't know if they will put Dante in the starting lineup and they will bench him and he will maybe thrive off the bench with Emmanuel Quickly and Josh Hart. Or maybe, let's say, when it comes down to January, they would try to move him and try to get a guy that could move the needle, or a guy that could help us. So a guy I'm really looking at, and it could be realistic, but it also could not. But this is a guy that I personally looking at, and he hasn't been a name all over on the media with the Knicks. I'll just read you some quick stats. The 76ers forward, Tobias Harris, he is playing very good basketball throughout his years in Philadelphia. And right now, he can help this team a lot, because one, he's shooting 52% from the field. He is 91% from free throw line, that we are struggling with mostly every single day. He's rebounding well, he's assisting well, he's doing those plays that help the team, and he's making a big impact with Tyrese Maxey, a very good young player, a star player who's making a big name of himself in the league. And then you got, all NBA, all MVP, Joel Embiid, and he's just doing everything right for that team, making those little plays, making those big shots when it matters. And if there's a way to get Tobias Harris, that would help the Knicks phenomenal in shooting, defense, rebounding, every single thing you need. So, and
You can't argue with that one.
I
mean,
don't
I saw
look.
everybody's face. Everybody said, huh? Okay.
Look,
all
yeah,
right.
I know. Look, it's not a name around. Like I know he's making like around 100 million. He's making a big contract, but I just feel like if the Knicks really want to stick with this team and don't want to go after a big superstar and trade a lot of their assets, I think if you go for a Tobias Harris and see how this plays out, see what happens in January before the trade deadline, see what RJ can do, see what Quentin Grimes can do, maybe Emmanuel quickly, see what will happen with him. So I think the Knicks are really playing this tactical game of just waiting and seeing what other teams are doing and see what their players are looking like and see how theirs. So they're trying to see what Quentin Grimes really is. Seeing, is he that bad, or is it just a down year, or can he boost up? Emmanuel quickly, we all know what he's doing. RJ Barrett, I know he had those 6 games, and now it's looking like he's back with the same old RJ Barrett that we saw last season. So I think they're just waiting out, and if they can just somehow make a move and get Tobias Harris in the trade deadline, that could just help this team a lot.
Tough move for Philly to make that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was gonna say is like
it's definitely
Philly,
tough. I'm not saying it's realistic. That's a guy that I would prefer.
Yeah, so Tobias is a good player, and he's been in and out of like Knicks Twitter talks for probably the last 2-3 years. I think the thing with Philly right now that you have to see is like they just made a major move where a player that was supposed to be super promising in James Harden became a flop. They traded him away, thought this could possibly be, a downward slope, like, is this going to be, chaos for us? Because now that we're trading him, is Embiid going to be disgruntled? Is Embiid going to go? And all of a sudden, trading that star in James Harden actually was the best thing that could have happened for Philly. Philly started to spiral up instead of down with that trade. And players like Tobias Harris kind of like in unlock mode, and same with, the rest of their roster. So for them, it would have to be something where they completely, like, all of a sudden, after All-Star break, fall apart and start like coming apart at the seams, that they want to take away from what they have instead of add to what they have. And with his contract being what it is, it would take a lot for us. So it would kind of shift a lot for us in order to bring him in. Which is something that like it is not going to happen because they're not looking to rebuild right now. They're trying to keep Embiid happy and keep Embiid, stationed there. So Tobias is a great fit, but I want to hear other people's. I know Eddie's was DeRozan last night, and people were talking about shooting the 3. And when you look at it, like I said, Jalen Brunson is top 4 in 3 right now, and Donche is shooting great at 3s. So we need more scoring, but it doesn't necessarily have to be from the arc only. For me personally, if I had my pick, and the reason I say this because I've loved this player for a while, but I didn't think there was anything, but it's starting to come out that if they continue to play as bad, they might be blowing it up. I personally, if I had my way, I would move RJ to the 2, and I would bring in someone who can play the 3 through 5. And I say that because he has been playing the 3 through 5 where he's at. And it would bring a lot to us. I would bring in Lauri Markkanen, because if you decide to trade Grimes or quickly or whatever and bring in Lauri Markkanen to match that, he could play that small forward position and move RJ to the 2. or if you needed to trade another position, he could still do that as well. So I would keep Lauri Markkanen, because if you think of a team of Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Lauri Markkanen, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, now you have someone who can stretch the floor, because Lauri can shoot from three. He can shoot from the mid-range. He can play, bully ball. He adds to the rebounds. He plays good defense. And so I feel like that would open up our offense a lot, and it would bring something different because he can shoot from all three spots. But Eddie, I'll let you go, and then I want to throw it over to Ron.
You want me to talk about Markkanen?
You could talk about Markkanen. You could talk about whoever your preferred person would be. Either way, I want to hear it.
I'd totally sign off on Markkanen. Give me him in a heartbeat. I'm looking at the numbers right now. The only problem is he makes $17 million, but the Utah Jazz have cap space. So it's going to be RJ would probably have to go out in that deal. But Utah does have the cap space to absorb him. Preferably, I'd like to send Randle in that deal, right? I'd like to send them Randle, but I don't think they're going to want a 29-year-old Randle. It would probably have to be RJ. But for the cost, my perfect fit, I think, is DeRozan. He's an expiring deal. You could send them Fournier, Grimes, and then a couple of protected picks. I think the Bulls would take that. I think they'd take that offer. And remember, I'm going to keep repeating myself. This team needs to up their field goal percentage. They need to up their free throw percentage. DeRozan solves both. Yes, DeRozan's not a three-point shooter, but we are a good three-point shooting team. So, again, DeRozan doesn't cost the farm, and he gives us what we need. He makes our field goal percentage go up. He makes our free throw percentage goes up, and he's a closer. He's another guy that in the fourth quarter scores a lot of points. So, he's not going to cost the world. So I think DeRozan's a great fit. And I also throw Kyle Kuzma. You guys all know what.
Of course, you had to get the Kuzma in there. Ron, the R&B voice for the Knicks fans. Where you at, my guy?
What up? Hey, yo, 19
wait a minute, too. Patiently.
19 comment. Nah, bro. If I'm talking Lauri Markkanen is actually like Keenan Peele with what's considered a good defensive rating. So we wouldn't be like, dealing with a poor defender in Lauri Markkanen. That's not true at all. So get out of here with that silliness.
Let's let Ron go. Shout out to Jarvis in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out. Dripmore's in the building. What it do, my guy? All right, Ron, take it away.
Oh man. Okay. All right. First off, shout out to Ben, shout out to Just Knicks, my guy Double A was good. Phil, Eddie, Jiggaman, you know how it is. Appreciate all you guys. And shout out to my guy DSJ too. I don't want to be that guy, but I gotta be that guy. And to Phil, I actually liked Lauri Markkanen. I've always liked him. I always thought he was a skilled player, and I thought, man, if the Knicks had a guy who was 7 foot that could stretch the floor and shoot the rock and get rebound, man, it'd be nice to have. Problem is, I don't think how we almost have come to the grips that we'll never get OG Anunoby over here because of everything that's happened with Toronto and the Knicks. I don't think there's a way in hell that we'll get Lauri Markkanen here because of everything that went on between Danny Ainge and Leon Rose. I think that relationship is so bad after basically for 2 months them courting Donovan Mitchell and thinking they had him. I can't see it. But I hear you though. I hear you. Yeah, man, I don't know. Well, let me just say this. I'm probably going to reiterate it tomorrow on my show. To all the Knicks fans out there, man, I know last night's game was yuck, ilk, but I just want to say it's not as bad as you may think. It didn't look good. Last night was a trap game, and we definitely could have lost that game the way we were playing. And I don't think it's a matter of the Knicks not taking the game serious. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Big face.
I don't think it's a matter of the Knicks not taking the game serious. Oh, here we go. It's more of a matter of just, that's how you get caught up. When you're a good team, you play one of the worst teams. Like, you kind of coasting. And that's why it's a trap game. It happens to a lot of NBA teams. But I will say, shout out to Knicks fan at birth on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. He made a really good point. I think it was him, so I'm gonna give him the credit. The Knicks are in the middle of the 5th back-to-back, and they are 11-7, guys, and they haven't even played their best basketball.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great about this team. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, they have not even hit their stride where they have gone on a run, and we're like, man, the Knicks look really good. And I don't care how you feel about the Knicks. That's gonna happen. They're eventually gonna hit their stride where we're like, okay, they're playing the best basketball we've seen all year. It's gonna happen. I am a little concerned about RJ, but it's not necessarily just about RJ. I don't know if it's just me, but have you guys noticed like the spacing the last couple games since RJ's been back when it's kind of clunky. And I don't feel like RJ is getting the lanes. I definitely don't think they're calling anything for RJ. RJ's just getting the ball and like, go do you because you've been so good. I think RJ needs a little help with that too, man. And I think he'll get back to somewhere in between what he looks like right now and how good he was before, because it's tough to keep up that pace, but I just don't think he's this bad the way he's playing again. I can't not it's not a good look. But yeah, man, I had a lot to say. I've been saving it, but yeah. And as far as a player goes, I'm kind of starting to get on the DeRozan train, man, because the only thing about DeRozan is he's a little older, and I
Yes.
think if there was a guy we could bring in that might be okay with saying, "Hey, my role is not necessarily I'm the starter that gets these minutes. I might start, I might come off the bench, I'll get a good amount of minutes, but I I'm playing with the Knicks rather than the Bulls who are stinking it up." So I think DeRozan is a good fit for that.
Yeah. And also with DeRozan too, he's going to be an expiring deal, and he's not going to cost the bank at the end of the summer if you re-sign him.
All right, I'm gonna let Double A go ahead because he's been patiently waiting. Go ahead,
Yes.
Double A.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I want you to know I brought up the Ivy as a chance, but not necessarily my choice. He wouldn't be my choice to add to the Knicks because I feel this. Look, fellas, we cannot add a person like Donovan Mitchell, Laurie Marketing. We can't add somebody like that without disrupting the team. Because for one of those players to come on our team and be effective, okay, Donovan Mitchell is not going to come to the Knicks and score 28 points a game. Not playing with Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and RJ Barrett. And anyway, one of those people will have to go in a trade, I would assume, either for marketing or either for Julius Randle. I think right now a low key move. We were talking about it, Ron, on your show last Saturday. Is somebody like Bogdanovich, which gives us flexibility as that we can add somebody in on the bench that can score and take up the slack per se if we wanted to move, say, quickly to the starting lineup, or even give Dante a chance in the starting lineup. But right now, where we are in the season and the way we're playing, I think it'd be best for us if we make a trade to make a low key move, something that just makes us stronger but doesn't disrupt the whole. I mean, we don't tear it apart because anybody that's going to move the needle, man, we're going to have to break up that core three. We're going to have to break up Randall, Barrett, and you know, Brunson ain't going nowhere. But one of them, and I think it's just too much of disruption this point of the season. Uh, and that's my take. Yeah, DeRozan. I mean, DeRozan is a vet, but him too. He's not going to get the touches that he gets with Chicago. Is he going to be all right with it? Who knows? He might be, but then again, he's the type of player that I don't see that he's ready to, hit the farm. Yeah, he's not ready to retire, so he might want a better opportunity. He might want to still, be that 20-point a game scorer, which
Yeah.
he's not going to be on the Knicks. And I'm thinking it might be a less of a hit on Grimes if we bring somebody off the bench like quickly and give Dante and give him a chance to play other than bring somebody from another team, because that saying is, we're done with you as our, starting shooting guard. Whereas if we put him on the bench for a little while, that's just hey, the Knicks can present it to him like we're saying. It's just a chance for you to chill and get back, on the tracks.
Yeah, and I'll touch on it because Ron, you know it. I've been saying it for 2 months now, right? I'm not big on going to get the star. I love the core that we have. I love what we're seeing, right? And we're all bought in on this continuity thing. But again, you can't sell me on continuity at this point when Grimes is not performing the way he is. But not to give up on the kid, right? I personally, I don't care if we go get DeRozan. I don't. I don't think that's a move that excites me so much. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to the championship. Like it doesn't move that for me, right? But I want to bring up that tweet that you talked about because that tweet cracked me up because did you see how many people also started showing hate towards the tweet? Not playing good basketball. What do you mean? We're 11-7. First of all, that statement he made can be factual and you can agree with it and disagree with it because you can't sit here and say we're playing our best basketball because we know we're not. When you've got your starter scoring 0 points 5 games in a row, just that alone, you can sit here and say, we're not playing our best ball. And when we've had multiple nights where it's relied on 1 or 2 people, which, by the way, what do you consider a star, people? The guy that you can count on that's going to step up when your team ain't doing shit. Oh, you mean Jalen Brunson? What is it going to take for people to start putting respect on that man's name as a star? Because I don't care if that's Knicks fandom. How do you not look at that kid and say he's not a star? So what, when he gets his all-star nod this year, do we start respecting it? What does he have to jump to number 1? He knew another 7 games of 40-plus points to be number 1 for the Knicks? Then maybe we'll call him a star? People are going to sit here and not start showing a little bit of star mentality towards, I don't know, Mitch Robinson? Mitch Robinson at this pace, keep going before the all-star break? You can't call him a star? So stop with the bullcrap about, we need a star. No, we need to see our team playing better. And that's where that continuity line comes back. Let them keep grooving, but we need to see the little changes. We need to see more of those adjustments. I'm sorry, there's no name out there that excites me, that tells me, you know what, it's worth getting rid of X, Y, and Z because it's going to win us a championship. Because when you get rid of X, Y, and Z, you're now only getting a Z back, and you're like, oh, shit, we need to go get an X and Y, and we're back in the same monotony of we need to go get a star.
Well, but Jigga, we can. It does. I'm totally out on the star thing because I don't think any stars are going to be available anyway. Yeah. But I do think there is something to adding another closer to this team, to adding one more piece. Again, I've been saying this since last year. Build through the mid, right? Like build through the mid. We don't have to get, Embiid, and we're not going to, or these guys, or Luka, whoever. We're not going to get them. But if we add that little guy, that one extra piece, that DeRozan, that Kuzma, that Bogdanovic.
But that's my point, though, Eddie. But right, I agree with you. But who's to say if we didn't make a simple adjustment, if we're going to give time, and the fan base is calling give Grimes time, how do we know that Grimes can't be that closer with that second unit for us? He can't.
I don't think he's capable of being a closer.
I think he's so in his head right now.
Not here, Jigga. Not here.
No, okay.
No. I don't think he can do it here.
I disagree with both of you guys. So it doesn't have to be right here, right now. That's the problem. Like right here, right now, he's not that guy. That does not mean he doesn't develop into that guy. You look at Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley has developed into someone you can count on in the fourth quarter in most games. He wasn't always that guy. He was early in his career. He was an offensive-minded player, a liability on defense, vice versa at different times in the season. Then he became the kind of player that you want to build around. Grimes can become that. I don't think he's that right now in the starting lineup, which is why I want to see him come off the bench and develop into that. But that does not mean in the meantime, we don't find someone for the here and now. Like it can be both. We can find someone who can fill that gap in the here and now, which is why you don't go trading for an all-star that you rob yourself to get. Someone like a Bogdanovic is not that kind of guy that you have to rob yourself of a ton in order to get. You throw in a Fournier and 1 or 2 picks, give the Pistons back their picks. You get someone who can perform right now, help you with your 3-point shooting and your perimeter and your mid-range shooting. let Grimes come off the bench and cook. And then after that Bojan contract starts to dwindle down, you now know what Grimes is. Is Grimes developed into the guy that you can bring back in to take that role? Or has Grimes shown his hand and you go, dang, we wanted him to be that guy. Unfortunately, he's not. We now know that it didn't work in the starting lineup. It didn't work off the bench. Now we can move on if we have to move on. But we give him that opportunity to grow, but we still get someone that helps us compete in the here and now instead of going for a star that you have to succeed with that star.
Two things, Phil. One, I know a guy with a show on Saturdays called Know the Ledge. I broke it down on Bogdanovich. I'm just saying, Ron, live looking from Puerto Rico. It's our boy Hector.
What's good, fans?
What's up,
good? Yo,
Papa?
I just had to come up here one time. One, I was driving on the mountains this morning. The roads are like so tiny. They're literally that so tiny. I don't know how I survived. Second, I just want to come up here and say everything that Phil just said, I disagree with. I hate everything that Phil just said just because I always got to disagree with Phil. That's my brother. I love you, Phil.
I love you. Don't let that bald head get burnt. I'll slap it next time I see it.
Listen, no bald jokes, all right? I'm a part of the phallically challenged community. You better stop it, okay, my guy? Stop that shit.
As I give the rest of my takes, I'm just gonna do this the whole time for you, Bobby.
Look at Hector with the vacation cleanup. I see you.
For
Okay,
real,
player.
right?
You see me? I take baths when I'm on vacation. Ron. That's what you gotta take baths.
He's looking sharp.
No, but I just want to come up here. Shout out my guy Double A, Ben as well, Ron as well, Jigga, Eddie, Phil. You guys been holding it down. I miss you guys. I love you
bro.
guys. Shout out to
Love you,
everybody
bro.
that's in the chat. I just had to chime in for a couple of seconds. And
Get your
Phil,
ass back home, bro.
Stop trying to get Porzingis, bro. It's not gonna happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not.
Porzingis and Obi. Let's bring him back. Porzingis and Obi.
It's over.
Love you, bro.
guys.
We'll see you on Monday.
Love you, bro. Peace out.
Later.
Oh, man.
By the way, Phil, when have we seen Grimes ever able to finish? I mean, what are we talking about here? This guy's not going to get any better. I'm good. I'm done with Grimes.
I think we let him develop. Here's the thing.
Develop.
We
What a
have to let
fucking win,
people,
bro.
We have to let people cook. Like, yo,
What is he gonna cook?
Listen. So many people talk mad trash about Derrick Rose being at the end of his career with the New York Knicks. And now look at him thriving.
Oh,
like,
please. He's
bro.
finished.
Are you serious? Like,
Look at the record. Who gives a fuck about them, man?
I do because that's what he's doing without their main guy. Like
they're terrible. He's a compiler now. That's all he is. He's a knee broke compiler.
Yo, I'm about to drop that 50 to shut up Burr over here.
Phil's about to pay his own $50 to mute
I'm about
Eddie.
to pay myself $50 to get you the hell out of here.
And he's still believing in Grimes like he's gonna be some savior. Guy can't finish for shit, man. He plays good defense. That's about it.
Come on,
guys. But before we wrap up the show, let's go around the room real quick about tonight's game. How you feeling? You know, and then we'll wrap this up. I see people in the chat. They're like, "Damn it, Hector, get back, man!" Eddie and Phil are going at it. Alan, why is it begging for Hector to come back? Appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all always killing it for us, man. Appreciate y'all. Let's go around the horn. Let's go with Ron, Double A, Ben, Eddie, and then we'll wrap it up here. But how are we feeling about tonight, Ron?
I'm feeling I'm on the fence about it. You know what I mean? Because for whatever reason, every time we play these freaking Toronto Raptors, you just don't know and that's even when we're playing well. When we play the Raptors, we have a battle. And I expect, like, I think one of you had mentioned earlier about the whole contentiousness between the front offices. I expect Toronto to come out and try to get busy on us. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if the GM said, maybe he won't tell the team, but tell the coach, hey, I want this one. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think funny enough, I think the Knicks are going to win because I think the Knicks are going to play better tonight than they played last night. I think Tom Thibodeau tried to conserve some guys. I was a little upset at first when I saw him take RJ out with 9 minutes left. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to bring him back, but he didn't. But then I forgot there was a back-to-back. So I'm expecting tonight's game will be all hands on deck And so he'll play guys like he normally would, and we'll have a better chance of having our best lineups out there at any given time. So I expect the Knicks to do what they got to do to get the victory. I also think I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on this. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about it more tomorrow. I'm hoping that my theory is not coming back again. I used to have this ongoing thing that for consistency and to be a good team overall, one of these guys has to go. And I'm hoping that's not the case because for whatever reason, I just don't see RJ and Randall ever being good together. Like they're good in separate fashion. Sometimes they've had like it's like I don't know, man. And then now that we have three guys here, when have we ever we've seen the three of them play well like three times maybe. I don't know, maybe four times. It's tough to say. I don't know. But I'm gonna save that because I'm gonna do some research on it. But we'll see. But I'm feeling good about it. I think they're gonna win tonight, and I think that'll set us up to have some momentum going into this in-season tournament versus Milwaukee. Well, in Vegas or whatever the hell how this looks. This is all weird to me, but I like it. Oh, I couldn't. Well, I guess I could save it for tomorrow, but I'm also a little upset about the fact that now all of a sudden, because it benefited the Knicks, they're making a big deal about the point differential because the Knicks won the point. Come on, man. What's going on in this world, B? They hate us so much. They hate us.
I tell you, man, I'll admit it. I'm really liking the in-season tournament. I know that's a whole other topic for another day, but I'm bought in, man. And you know what? When people started calling in and giving us the live look of the court, not just the pictures you see, I don't know. I became a fan, Ron. We were joking around, our eyes hurting, but I like it. I like it.
Well, you know what? Also, it's not as bright as we thought, Jigga. It looks bright, but it's not as bright as we thought.
Yeah. The pictures fooled us. All right, let's go. Ben, Double A. We got Wiz on the panel. We'll let Wiz go right after Double A. Ben, how we feeling about tonight, bro?
I'm feeling good about tonight, actually. I think we're going to play way better than we did last night. But also, Ron makes a point. Whenever we play the Raptors, it's always a tough fight. It's always a tough battle, and it always comes down at the end. But also, here's the thing. You have to beat the East teams. You got to beat your opponents in the conference. So, for me, when we play a Western Conference team, I care about the win, I care about the loss, but we play them 2 times a year. So, like, if we lose them, okay, that affects the loss. And then if we meet in the championship, then that's a whole nother story. We gotta beat these East teams, no matter who they are, no matter if the Pistons, no matter what the Wizards, the Bulls, the Hornets, all 14 teams in the East. We gotta beat them because sometimes if you lose to them, they can have advantage when it comes down to the end of the regular season, depending how the records look, depending what happens in the playoffs and all that. So you gotta beat the East teams and you gotta beat the Raptors tonight. I do feel good about this matchup, and I actually like this Pascal Siakam versus Randle matchup. I'm going to have a big eye on that. But I do see the Knicks winning tonight. I think they're going to play way better. But the guy I'm really looking at tonight and all the narratives all the takes, I want Quentin Grimes to have a good game. I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can show to this team. Because from these past 5 games, he's been playing very bad basketball, making no impact on this team, man. Can't call him a bust. I can't really go too harsh on him, but I want to see him thrive. I want to see every player on the Knicks thrive. So I hope Quentin Grimes can have a big game, and that's what I'm looking for. But this is definitely coming down to the end. This is definitely going to be a tough battle, but I got my Knicks winning, of course. And we go on to Tuesday against Milwaukee.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about it on Monday, but
oh yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We got a little open panel on Monday. We definitely gonna be talking about that one. Double A, where you at?
Oh wait, Double A, before you go, because I'm gonna get off so you guys can continue. I got some work to do. Multitasking. There was 2 things that I forgot to say before, but real quick. One was, I think, I hope the Knicks fans, really try to start uh, building Quentin Grimes back up. Like, I know how he's looked. I get it. He hasn't looked up to par. But let's not give up on the guy. Let's show him some love, get his confidence back up. His teammates need to do it too. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed in the past couple of games, and especially last night's game, when stuff was happening, Dante DiVincenzo hit a big three, and they
You
panned
saw the
over to show the
face.
bench. You saw his
You
face,
saw it.
bro.
You
He
saw. We
looked
all
so
saw it.
dejected,
That
bro.
was every time it went down, it was oh shit. There's an damn.
Yeah,
Again,
man.
in his head, the confidence was already hurting. Ron, you and I have talked about this so much. The confidence, and again, I'm not no way in any shape or form am I going with the bust angle. The confidence isn't there, and the more you keep letting him go out there and not find it, the more we're hurting him. Everybody's so concerned about, oh, well, if you move him to the second unit, you're dropping his stock and his value. No, you're letting him do that on his own right now, and that's what's hurting him.
Yeah,
Ron, I'll be in the building tomorrow on the ledge. 10 a.m., 11 a.m.?
11:30.
Yeah, 11:30. You see how always there?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think, as fans, sometimes people forget how important confidence is to an athlete. When they don't have confidence, you can't. It affects your offense. It affects your defense. It affects everything. So, yeah, let's just kind of try to build them back up. All right,
Yes,
Double A,
sir.
take it away, my brother.
I'm jumping on to disagree with one of your takes. Hope you kids listen, but go ahead, guys. Sorry, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Double A.
Okay. Ooh, you getting some feedback there, Wiz.
Yeah.
Ooh. No, listen. Guards like Schroeder, who are pests, bother the Knicks. So that's got me worried. And I pretty much agree with Ben and both Ron said that we need a big game from Grimes. We also need one from Barrett because they should be two of the most rested starters that we have. They played the less minutes last night. So we need them to step up. We can't get another zero game from Grimes. Part of what Ron said, that says a lot too, man. Just because your game ain't on, man, you should be rooting for the team. You should be rooting for your teammates. That looking all down and dejected, that was a big shot that Dante hit. You cheer on for your teammates. That's part of it. You want love for Russ, then you got to give the team love too, man. And that was a downer for me. When I saw that, everybody was, cheering and up, and he was just, that didn't look good. That wasn't a good look.
It was I'm losing my starting minutes look, right?
Right. And what I'm saying is, for tonight, we can't play 3-on-5, man, and think we're gonna win. We just can't play 3-on-5 tonight. So, ultimately, it's gonna come down to Tibbs. I'm looking for something that I haven't seen from him for a while. Is in-game adjustments. Like yesterday, he should have put Dante in on Cunningham a lot sooner because Grimes wasn't doing it against him. But tonight's, as far as winning, it's up to RJ and Grimes to me. If they come to play, because they're gonna have to pick up the slack. We can't expect Brunson to go full bore like Phil said. You can't expect him to go full bore again tonight and drag us out. And Randle, Randle doesn't do too good against Siakam. I beg to differ. In fact, Siakam does more against Randle. And as a matter of fact, the last game of the Garden, he's the one that torched us. I think he had 40-some points or something like that. So we got to watch that. But yeah, I'm hoping we can squeeze it out, man. But it's going to be a battle.
Facts. All right, Wiz with the shades on. Let's get Wiz to go ahead and speak his piece. What it do? Oh, now he's muted. You muted, Wiz.
Yeah, I paid.
And it looked like he killing it too, right?
Yeah, look at that.
Man, Wiz, woo! We should all act like, oh, that's spicy. Oh, yeah, Wiz. Oh man, he gonna hate when he goes back and sees that. Wiz, we can't hear you, bro. Yeah, but the shades look good, Wiz. Yeah, all right. Wiz, all right. Wiz ain't for me. All right. I think what he said is the Knicks play down to the level and up to the level of the people they play against. I'm trying to figure out what else you said, Wiz.
Wiz, we can't hear you, my guy.
You're muted.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to our takes. All right.
Oh man, Wiz waited so long too. My bad, Wiz. It just wasn't working out. All right, Phil, go ahead. Let's wrap this up.
So last thing I want to say about tonight's game is I personally think besides our starting lineup needing to play well, we also need our bench to actually be efficient. We need Josh Hart to have one of the games that he had the other day where he wasn't scared to drive, that he wasn't scared to get points. Because if you look at their roster, like you have guys in their friggin' bench that are good. Like they have scorers off of their bench. And in order for us to be able to like contend, it has to be something that we do more off the bench than they do. So for me, yes, I think our starting lineup needs to play well, but I think we need to see Dante, Hart, and IQ show up in this second half. I mean, in this game, in the second unit, because if our second unit can outscore and out defend their second unit, that takes some of the pressure off of our starting lineup to not have to have a 40-something point Jalen Brunson game. So we need to go back to where we could say that our bench is one of our strengths. And Josh Hart showed up the other day, and we need him to do that again. We need Dante to continue to shoot the way he shot last night. I think if our bench plays well, that's going to be the contributing factor that helps us win. We can't let guys like Kyle Lowry go off. You know, like I mean, Kyle Lowry.
5 years ago.
We can't let guys like Gary Trent Jr. and Precious Achua go off. Like
Phil was having flashbacks.
Yeah, I have flashbacks because
PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. He goes off with us on the Heat off the bench and everything like that. But we can't have guys like you know, like their second unit.
Schroeder.
Yeah, you know, so Schroeder's gonna play the way Schroeder's gonna play no matter what. And so yes, you know, JJ said their bench is a bad bench. Well, if our bench doesn't play well, it doesn't really matter, you know, because they have, you know, even on their bench, they have length, you know, which is something that we don't have in our second unit either. Yeah, that is PTSD, my guy. But yeah, so we just need to make sure that our bench shows up. If our bench shows up, I think that's what wins us the game.
Go ahead, Eddie, and then I'll wrap it up.
Oh, look, man, this to me is a troublesome matchup for us. Again, Toronto's one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. Best one of, I think they're top 5, top 6 offensive rebounds. You know, we're in that same category. So when we tend to go up these teams that out rebound us, that's a problem because, you know, we're not the most efficient team in the world. I agree with Phil's take with the fact is if we want to win, our bench has got to produce. It's got to produce. These guys, you know, we can't get nothing out of Hart. We can't, you know, all these guys on the bench got to put up some points. But again, after last night and that sloppy win, I think we have something taken out of us for tonight. But listen, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think tonight's going to go too well for us. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's a close game. Hopefully we can pull it out. We're a better team, but I think after that last night's, you know, victory, I think I don't like it on a back-to-back.
Look, I'll make mine real quick, guys. I'm not worried because, again, we all sit here and time after time, our fan base, we all agree that we play up or down to the level of the team we play against, right? And there was no different last night. The point is, a couple years ago, we lose that game last night, right? Now we're winning those. Yes, it wasn't the beginning to end that we wanted and the ass whooping that everybody was expecting, right? You can't. It's like any game is going to be different. People don't want to see, everybody focuses on the 42 from Jalen, but even in the chat, I see people, hey, we can't, Julius Randle was this close to a triple-double, right? I mean, these are things that we're seeing, they're progressing, and we're not at 100% yet with our team gelling. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a dope game, right? Give me that Miami Heat action all over again. You know, let's have a game that's worth me drinking and being happy all Friday night. I'm okay with that. Guys in the chat, You guys literally make this show worth it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You guys blow it up in there. Everybody that jumps on the open panel. Shout out to Mill Media for coming through this morning. Love chopping it up with her. Next week's schedule, guys. Monday, we got Knicks Omni fan coming through. We got the ladies on the show with us this Monday. Wednesday, we got Jerry Ferrara back with us. We got Anthony MSG coming through this Wednesday. Hector's back next week. Friday, we got Sage. We got a lot of content coming your way. Guys, we don't ever beg you to do super chats or any of that. If you love doing that, we appreciate it. What we do ask for is smash that like, hit that subscribe, give us a retweet on the X, let people know where they can find the content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And on that note, fellas, let's go Knicks. Deuces.